two women, both named Mary Morris, both victims of brutal murders. Their lives, though seemingly unconnected, were bound by a name and a fate that would forever link them in the annals of true crime history. The chilling coincidence sent shivers down the spines of investigators and the public alike. How could two women with the same name meet such violent ends within days of each other? The eerie nature of their deaths left everyone questioning the randomness of fate. Was it a cruel twist of fate, a case of mistaken identity, or something even more sinister? Theories abounded, each more unsettling than the last. Some believed it was a case of mistaken identity, while others whispered about a more sinister plot at play. The Mary Morris murders, forever linked by name and tragedy, remain an unsettling puzzle. The first victim, Mary Lou Henderson Morris, a bank loan officer, was found murdered in her car a few miles from her home. As a result of this senseless tragedy, and on the unsettling afternoon of October 16, 2000, Marilyn Blaylock faced the harrowing task of making one of the most daunting phone calls of her life. With trembling fingers, she dialed the number of the Houston, Texas medical examiner, the keeper of her deceased mother, Mary Morris. Only days before, Marilyn and her stepfather had interred Mary in a sorrowful ceremony, and now she needed to recover the jewelry removed from her mother's body on that fateful day, the day she was found. The voice from the medical examiner's office responded, offering a hollow reassurance that the jewelry would soon be available, yet only when her mother's body was ready for release. An eerie silence hung between them. Marilyn, her voice quivering, reminded the respondent that her mother's body had already been retrieved, her funeral rites completed. The jewelry should be ready. But the voice on the other end grew cold and insistent. According to their records, Mary Morris still lay in the morgue. A chill swept over Marilyn. Could there have been a ghastly mistake? Her mother's body had been so charred that only dental records had confirmed her identity. Had they buried a stranger, a phantom, in Mary's place? Transferred from voice to voice within the medical examiner's labyrinth bureaucracy, each person she spoke to pledged to untangle the dreadful confusion. Then, the horrific truth emerged from the shadows. Mary Morris was indeed in the morgue, but it was not Marilyn's mother. Another Mary Morris had met a tragic end in a car accident in Houston just 3 days after Marilyn's mother had been discovered. The second victim, Mary McGinnis Morris, a bank employee, was discovered dead in her car as well, just a few miles from her home. This ominous day in October of 2000, the lifeless body of Mary McGinnis Morris was discovered within the confines of a car in Houston. This Mary Morris, distinct with her short, dark brown curls, had met a dreadful fate. Just the day before, this 39-year-old nurse practitioner had been out attending to mundane errands. She administered a flu shot to her friend Lori Gimmel, then proceeded to the post office, a grocery store in Eckerd, the Texan equivalent of CVS in that area. While at Eckerd, McGinnis Morris placed a call to Lori, the friend she had just treated. Lori recounted how Mary spoke of an unsettling man at the store. Lori noted. She mentioned it matter-of-factly. She didn't sound scared, just aware of her discomfort and intent on heading home. Mary then made mention of a quick stop at work to shut down her computer. But within a mere 15 minutes, McGinnis Morris dialed 911. The content of that call remains a chilling secret, locked away. But what is known is that by the call's end, Mary was dead. Unlike the case of the first victim, Mary Lou Henderson Morris, a few suspects popped up almost immediately concerning Mary McGinnis Morris. When Mary McGinnis didn't return home that night, her husband, Mike Morris, alerted the police. Curiously, he first tried calling Mary's cell phone about an hour and a half after her desperate 911 call. The phone records reveal a 4-minute incoming call from Mike, who was at the movies with their teenage daughter, Katie, during the murder. Mike insists he never reached Mary. The phone rang endlessly. Yet, the phone company's records insist the call was connected. According to her husband, Mike, the very gun that ended Mary McGuinness Morris's life had been resting ominously in her car for 2 weeks. There was a sinister reason behind this. A male nurse named Dwayne Young, who worked under Mary, had been making her deeply uneasy. Mary's friend, Lori Gemmell, recounted how Dwayne often complained to Mary's superiors, challenged her authority, and frequently appeared agitated. Mike revealed that Mary had called him on her way home one evening, her voice trembling with fear. She had arrived home, visibly shaken, and asked him for a gun to carry for her protection. She implored him to teach her its handling and use. Once done, she requested that he place the gun under the driver's seat of her car. This gun would ultimately be the instrument of her demise. Initially, the police were at a loss for leads. However, Lori Gemmell remembered a chilling detail from her phone call with Mary, just 15 minutes before she was fatally shot. Mary had mentioned recognizing the unsettling man following her. She believed he was someone she had encountered through Dwayne Young. This sinister connection added a layer of dread to the already eerie events leading to Mary's tragic end. Before delving into the identity of the sinister figure trailing Mary, the police turned their attention to Mike Morris, her husband. His immediate action after the murder raised suspicions. He had swiftly lawyered up, casting a shadow of doubt over him. Authorities wondered if he harbored a dark secret. He insisted on having an attorney and flatly refused to take a polygraph test. He also prevented the police from questioning their daughter, Katie. Yet in other ways, Mike was oddly cooperative. He submitted blood samples and fingerprints and granted the police access to their home. Despite this, the investigation hit a grim wall. There wasn't enough physical evidence to charge him with Mary's murder. As the investigation dragged on, the case of Mary McGuinness Morris grew colder. Despite having more suspects, the police concluded that there simply wasn't enough evidence to charge anyone. Thus, her case, much like that of Mary Henderson Morris, slipped into the shadows of unsolved mysteries. The similarities in their deaths were too striking to ignore. Could these two murders, separated by just 3 days and little distance, be connected? The question echoed through the minds of investigators and the public alike. The shared name was an undeniable link, a chilling whisper that refused to be ignored. Was it a bizarre coincidence, a cruel trick of fate, or something more sinister? The lack of concrete evidence was frustrating, fueling a sense of desperation. Their stories, shrouded in mystery and marked by violence, continued to haunt the annals of true crime. The brutality of their murders and the lack of clear motives left a void that is yet to be filled. The Mary Morris murders serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating impact of violence. Their stories, though touched by tragedy, also highlight the importance of remembrance, but for our own sake. Also remember the perpetrator behind these killings is still out there. Be on the lookout for another video coming soon. Stay ready and be safe out there, people.